From the headquarters of Telesur English in Quito, Ecuador, I'm Carla Gonzalez, and this is From the South. Hundreds of Palestinians have protested in Gaza against the United States' so-called Middle East peace plan. The demonstrators, including activists from the Democratic Front for the Liberation of Palestine, gathered outside the United Nations office and burned an effigy of U.S. President Donald Trump, as well as U.S. and Israeli flags. They called for the United Nations to intervene and stop U.S. aggression against the national rights of the Palestinian people. The protests came after Trump announced that he would release the plan in a few days.
If Trump announced the deal of the century, he will place the whole region on the top of a volcano. Therefore, the United States and Israel will bear full responsibility for the revolution of the Palestinian people in the face of the deal of the century to knock it down.
The Palestinian Prime Minister has urged the world to boycott Trump's peace plan, which he considers a distraction.
This is a plan to protect Trump from impeachment and protect Netanyahu from prison. It is not a Middle East peace plan, but rather a self-protection plan for its owners. It gives sovereignty to Israel over Palestinian land at a time when the International Criminal Court is discussing the issue of occupied Palestinian land.
The Palestinian resistance movement, Fatah, has said the so-called Middle East plan is nothing more than a scheme to trick Palestinians into giving up their right to self-determination and establishment of an independent state. A statement issued by the movement on Monday called on all Palestinians to work together to fight the deal. It also warned Trump that by announcing this deal, he has declared himself a partner of Israel in its crimes against the people of Palestine.
The Trump deal is an American conspiracy episode on our people and on our cause. There is a Palestinian consensus that rejects this deal and insists on facing it in all forms until it is toppled. And we will not concede any of our legitimate national rights to self-determination and the establishment of an independent Palestinian state with its eternal capital, Jerusalem, and the right of refugees to return home.
Iran's Foreign Minister Mohammad Javad Zarif has accused Germany, France and the United Kingdom of implementing the rules of the 2015 nuclear deal in a skewed manner. He also said the three countries have repeatedly allowed the United States to violate the deal without facing any consequences.
It is based on the illusion that only the blue-eyed can benefit from international law, and that in the face of repeated violations by the United States and Europe. Iran does not have the right to use Article 36, despite several written notifications to European officials. We do not accept such racism.
The commander of Iran's Revolutionary Guard, Hossein Salami, has warned the United States and Israel over threats made to its commanders. Salami said if threats continue, Iran will retaliate. The warning came after a U.S. envoy to Iran said that the U.S. was going to target the successor of Qasem Soleimani.
If they want to continue this game, our response will be completely different from the past, and its scale will be different too. They will face a totally new situation that they won't be able to manage and control. We warn them to withdraw from this field.
It has now been revealed that it was a military personnel carrier that crashed in eastern Afghanistan, killing all 83 on board. This video shows the aftermath of the wreckage of what was previously thought to be a passenger plane. The aircraft came down in the Decca district of Ghazni, southwest of Kabul, a known Taliban area. Officials initially said the plane was owned by Afghanistan's Ariana Airlines, but that has since been denied. The Taliban now claims that it downed the plane after earlier reports said it crashed due to technical difficulties. Chinese authorities have announced that the death toll from the new coronavirus-related pneumonia has risen to 81, with close to 3,000 confirmed cases. Overseas, there have been 7 confirmed cases in Thailand, 5 in Australia and Singapore, 3 in Japan, and 3 in the United States, among others. In the meantime, the Chinese government has stepped up efforts to stop the outbreak, including shutting down public transport in a number of cities and the swift construction of 2 emergency hospitals near the epicenter of the outbreak.
The teams are made up of prominent experts from the capital and other cities of Shanxi and medical workers from top hospitals of 10 cities. Our team consists of 2 groups, one for treatment of patients in critical situations, another for common patients.
As a medical worker, a respiratory doctor, and a member of the Chinese Communist Party, I need to fight together with the people in Wuhan on the front line because it is the best way to help them.
And the Chinese government has announced an extension to the New Year holiday until February 2nd in an effort to curb the spread of the virus.
The novel coronavirus infection is a kind of respiratory infectious disease, and its main means of transmission is close-range contact. So, reducing travel and gatherings is the most effective way to cut off the means of transmission. As such, we have decided to extend the holiday and encourage people to stay at home, not to hang out, not to go to the epidemic areas, not to go to public places, and reduce the frequencies to public places and places where people usually gather, so as to reduce the risk of transmission. Therefore, residents and other people should follow the advice by the government, stay at home, reduce travel, and don't go to crowded places.
Our correspondent, Iramsi Peraza, is in Beijing with the latest update on the virus.
China has taken strict measures and is not sparing any resources to stop the rapid advance of the coronavirus. So far, 80 people have died, while 2,800 contain the virus. Chinese authorities have announced they will reinforce the country's security measures by, for example, canceling classes and extending the Lunar New Year holidays. Authorities have also extended the quarantine status to different cities across China. Interprovincial transport services have also been cancelled, and various touristic spots like the Great Wall of China have also been shut down in order to avoid the expansion of the virus. According to official statements, these measures are taking place due to recent studies which have shown that the virus is becoming more contagious by the minute. According to official information, the Tibet region is the only province that has not been infected by the coronavirus. Authorities have said they have tried to stop the virus with various treatments, but no one has been completely effective. Scientists have said they are working on a vaccine for the virus. Nonetheless, these studies are just getting started, making the creation of the vaccine last for months or maybe even years. Chinese authorities have also made public that 58 patients have been able to overcome the pneumonia caused by the coronavirus. It is also important to say that since the start of the virus, China has maintained strong communications with the World Health Organization. The head of the WHO has said he would travel to Beijing to help combat the virus, and also announced the creation of an international group of experts to help assess with this situation.
That was a correspondent, Iramsi Peraza from China. We have more stories coming up, so don't go away.
Our actions have an impact on the environment. It's our responsibility to change for the sake of our planet. Let's be part of this transition. Watch, preserve, and protect your Green Zone. Wednesdays, only on Telesur.
Welcome back. The presidential candidate for Bolivia's movement towards the Socialism Party, Luis Arce, held a news conference from Argentina on Monday. Joined by former President Evo Morales, Arce spoke about the damage that has been caused by last November's coup and by the de facto government.
It was not just a political coup, but an economic coup. The de facto government immediately started to tear down our model, the one we worked on for so long, which bore many positive results and was hailed across the world. This de facto government has started to change the policies of Bolivia, and it has led to a sharp rise in economic uncertainty. Last December, for the first time, we saw indicators in the financial system that showed a marked decrease in deposits, something that never happened during our administration. There's a re-dollarization in Bolivia. For years, we applied measures to strengthen our currency, as Bolivia used to be dollarized before 2005. And people regained trust in our national currency because the economy was on the right path. After the coup, expectations were created, and people have been falling back on the dollar once again.
For his part, the former president of Bolivia highlighted the process behind the nomination of Luis Arce and David Choquehuanca as president and vice president in the upcoming elections.
After a long debate, we decided to nominate Luis Arce and David Choquehuanca for president and vice president. But in all honesty, there were some sectors of our supporters who were not satisfied with our choice. But thankfully, David Choquehuanca has been instrumental in explaining why we chose this particular ticket. A few days later, after some debate, we could announce that all sectors in Bolivia threw their support behind our candidates.
On Sunday night, Bolivia's de facto president, Janine Áñez, asked for the resignation of all her ministers, mere days after announcing she plans to run for president in the upcoming general elections. Áñez's announcement came on the heels of the resignation of her communications minister, who strongly disagreed with her decision to run for president. She said in a communiqué that the transitional government has lost its way and that Áñez is not working to restore democracy. Áñez took power on November 12 last year, following the military-backed coup against President Morales and the violent persecution of his officials by far-right groups. The killings of social leaders and former combatants of the demobilized FARC continue in Colombia. Freddy Vargas Rojas, the associated with the Coagro Paz cooperative, was killed on Saturday. And on Sunday, communal leader of the Catatumbo region, Fernando Quintero Mena, was killed in the municipality of Convención. Our correspondent, Hernán Tobar, has more on this from Bogotá.
Numerous acts of violence have taken place this weekend against former FARC combatants and social leaders. The first one was Fernando Carrillo, social leader. He was murdered in the municipality of Convención in Santander North. With him, 2 social leaders have been murdered in this same municipality. Also on Saturday, John Freddy Vargas was murdered in the municipality of Pitalito in the department of Huila. And this is in addition to 184 former FARC combatants who have been murdered after the signing of the peace agreement. The UN has demanded that the government to apply stricter measures to stop the killing of more FARC combatants.
That was Hernán Tobar from Colombia. Peruvians went to the polls to vote on their new Congress, where no party won an overall majority. A correspondent, Veronica Insausti, has more on the results.
The results of the parliamentary elections are a reflection of the people's rejection against the traditional political class linked to corruption charges. For example, we are seeing that the Peruvian Aprista Party and the Christian People's Party, that historically have had a representation in Congress, this time were left out. This time, and the National Solidarity and the party led by Keiko Fujimori, Fuerza Popular, are the biggest losers in this election. Let's recall that last Congress, the party led by Fujimori had 73 seats in Congress out of the 130 in total. This time, it only achieved 7% of valid votes. We have also seen that the people have decided to vote for new parties, new faces, for example, the FREPAP, a political organization that stands in second place. We have also seen the more political party has absolute majority. This means a new challenge for this new political class.
That was Veronica Insausti from Peru. In other stories, Antigua and Barbuda has announced a $629 million budget for 2020. Prime Minister Gaston Brown, who is also the finance minister, presented the budget, which is $111 million more than 2019's plan. The Ministry of Education received the largest allocation at $56 million. Meanwhile, the Ministry of Health got the second largest at $48 million. Jamaica's Prime Minister has advised the country's Governor General to declare a state of public emergency in eastern Kingston that took effect at midnight. States of public emergency are already in place in 6 other divisions. The police commissioner defended the move, saying the high level of violent crime was the reason for the declaration.
Already, since the start of 2020, the Eastern Kingston Division has recorded 11 murders, when compared with the 3 during the corresponding period last year. When we examine the broader national picture, the year 2020 has begun with signs of success in the implementation of our policing strategies. Murder is down 5% when compared with this time last year overall, and shootings are down 7%. The gang warfare and other criminal acts perpetrated by gangs has created fear among citizens and has caused the disruption of livelihoods in several communities in the division. The fear that is associated with this level of violence has undermined the daily lives of these communities and the residents. As a consequence, and in consultation with the Chief of Defense Staff, we requested that a state of public emergency be declared in the Eastern Kingston Police Division.
In Bolivia, every year the number of people who go to the Abundance Fair increases, where you can buy in miniature of what you want to achieve in the rest of the year. We have more in this report.
The Alacita Fair, which in Aymara means buy me, was born in peace, and every year it summons crowds to buy in miniature what every person dreams of having throughout the year.
It's a tradition and custom that we Bolivians believe in, so we bought a miniature house, so in the future we will have a real house.
Always buy without faith, with all the will of the Lord, as so it will come true, a house, a car, so it will happen this year.
At the Dream Fair, you can get almost everything: land, building materials, houses, vehicles, plane tickets, bank accounts, cash, health certificate, driver's license, food, personal titles, marriage certificate, and divorce certificate. Almost everything.
It works if one has faith that it will. Everything done with faith and love happens.
I always tell them that one must have faith in the God of Fortune, in the Virgin of Orcupina, and in the Pachamama, that if we go to buy with faith, they will grant us all the desires of the heart.
When my mom gave me a little suitcase, she told that the little suitcase was so I could travel. And one day I traveled to Chile all by myself, so it works.
There is no square or church atrium in the city of La Paz without miniatures. After people buy the wish, they have it blessed by the priest and the Aymara priest, a ceremony known as chala. Here, nothing is left to chance.
With a lot of faith, I got a grade diploma and a master's degree diploma.
Those who have faith have all their desires fulfilled. Those who do not have it, nobody forces them, but faith moves mountains.
Now, the main character of the fair is the Ekeko, who is known as the god of abundance. But the origin of the tradition is lost in time. Long before Spanish colonialism, there was Illa, a representation of the goddess of earth fertility, of the Pucara culture, which dates back 200 years before the Christian era, found in the ceremonial center of Tiwanaku.
We'll take one last break. Stay with us.
Una travesía para descubrirnos. Buscamos conexiones perdidas.
No nos queda otra que luchar, porque no tenemos nada que perder. Realmente es por todos.
Recorremos el mundo con Reportajes Telesur.
And we're back with more news. At least 26 people have been killed and 15 reported missing in Madagascar after a week of heavy rainfall. The rains have caused severe flooding, leaving thousands homeless and roads destroyed. Prime Minister Christian Ensai declared the floods a national disaster. The country is in the midst of an intense 6-month rainy season that often results in casualties and widespread damage.
I'm begging you to help us. Everything we have has been destroyed. Even our house has been destroyed. A house made of bricks and which we only recently built. On the other side, it's totally destroyed. The bricks are broken. We are begging you, come and help us.
Thousands of people living near the Philippines' Taal volcano have been allowed to return home. The villagers have been forced to evacuate to safety after the volcano erupted 2 weeks. Authorities say an explosive eruption no longer appears to be imminent. However, they have been warned to be ready to flee. In other news, U.S. President Donald Trump's defense team is presenting its arguments on the impeachment process. Our correspondent, Jorge Gestoso, has more.
At this hour, the defense team of President Trump is presenting its arguments on the impeachment of the president, trying to convey that the president did nothing wrong, that telephone call with the president of Ukraine was perfect, according to President Trump. Well, the news of the day is the explosive revelation that John Bolton has been published in the New York Times, that he had during the month of August a conversation with Trump in which Donald Trump said that he was withdrawing, retaining the military aid to Ukraine as a quid pro quo against an investigation of the Democrats, especially Joe Biden and his son Hunter. Now the speculation is, are the Democrats going to try to convince 4 Republicans to call for witnesses, including, of course, John Bolton, that he said that he's willing to testify, while the Republicans are seriously denying that possibility and trying to portray this new revelation of John Bolton, that is a drop of his book. He said that he has that conversation with Trump as he said. And in reality, already the leader, the Democratic leader of the Senate, we're talking about Chuck Schumer, has said, if it's he said, and therefore we should not know exactly to whom we believe, he said, John Bolton is ready to testify under oath. It's the only one of the two. So the situation is very fluid. Still a lot of skepticism that the Democrats are going to manage to call for witnesses, and if not manage to be successful, most probably this impeachment is going to be finalized and President Trump is going to be absolved by the end of this week. We get back to you now.
Thank you. That was Jorge Gestoso from Washington, D.C. And over the weekend, Santiago de Cuba marked the 167th birthday of national hero José Martí. Workers of the National Institute of Sports and teachers ran, walked, and biked in this anniversary marathon, along with 1,500 students. The race began at Santiago's Revolution Plaza, down the Avenue of the Americas, to the Heroes Forest. Older adults and young children also competed to remember Martí's legacy. And with that, we end our news brief. But you can find all of our stories by checking our website, telesurenglish.net. And be sure to also join us on social media. We're on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. For Telesur English, I'm Carla Gonzalez. Thank you for watching.